Sometimes the smallest creatures in the forest carry the heaviest burdens, not because they are weak, but because they never learned how to refuse. They lower their heads and step forward, even when no one asks how heavy the load has become. Little by little, the forest grows used to placing more on their backs. Many beings believe kindness means giving everything. They believe that if they are always helpful, always gentle, always available, they will be loved. But there is a quiet truth hidden in the forest. Respect from others rarely appears before respect from yourself. This is the story of a small donkey named Rowan, and the strange day when he finally understood something no one had ever told him. Rowan lived near a wooden farm at the edge of a wide forest. He was not the strongest animal there, nor the fastest, but he was the most dependable. Every morning before the sun climbed over the hills, Rowan was already awake. He carried water from the well. He pulled carts full of wood. He helped the farmer plow the fields. And when the work on the farm ended, the forest animals often found him too. A squirrel asked Rowan to carry nuts across the clearing. A family of ducks asked him to pull their small boat when the water was low. Even the fox, who rarely helped anyone, sometimes asked Rowan to carry heavy bundles through the trees. Rowan never refused. It had become his quiet habit. Whenever someone asked, he lowered his head and stepped forward. Animals often said he had the kindest heart in the forest. Rowan always lowered his head a little when he heard those words. He thought kindness meant carrying whatever appeared in front of him. Rowan believed them. Helping others made him feel important, needed, useful, and usefulness felt very close to respect. But something strange slowly began to happen. The more Rowan helped, the more everyone expected. Soon it felt natural to them that Rowan would carry whatever appeared. The squirrel stopped saying thank you. The ducks stopped asking politely. The fox began leaving bundles beside Rowan without saying a word at all. Soon, Rowan carried more weight than any animal on the farm, and still, no one seemed to notice. Sometimes Rowan watched the other animals resting under the trees while he continued walking back and forth across the field. He wondered, for a brief moment, what it might feel like to stand still and carry nothing at all. One evening, long after the sun had disappeared behind the trees, Rowan stood near the fence, too tired to move. His back ached, his legs trembled. Still, when a crow landed beside him and asked if he could carry a basket of berries across the field, Rowan nodded again. Just as he began to move, a voice stopped him. "Why do you carry things that are not yours?" Rowan turned. A large old horse stood on the other side of the fence. The horse did not belong to the farm. His coat was dusty from travel, and his mane moved slowly in the wind. Rowan had never seen him before. "I help," Rowan said simply. The old horse watched him quietly. Then he said something strange. "Come here." Rowan hesitated for a moment, unsure why the stranger was watching him so carefully. Still, he stepped closer. No one had ever asked him a question about the weight he carried. The horse picked up a long stick from the ground and gently placed it across Rowan's back. It was light, almost weightless. Rowan stood still. "Is it heavy?" the horse asked. "No," Rowan said. Then the horse added another stick, and another, and another. Soon Rowan carried a small pile of sticks. Still not heavy. Then the horse placed one final stick on top. Suddenly, the entire pile slid down Rowan's side and fell to the ground. The sticks scattered across the dirt. Rowan stepped back, confused. "I don't understand," he said. The horse looked at him calmly. "None of the sticks were heavy," the horse said. "But they fell because you never chose how much you would carry." Rowan stood very still. The wind moved softly through the field. The horse continued. "If you never decide your limit, others will decide it for you." Rowan felt something shift deep inside his chest. He thought about the bundles, the carts, the baskets, the endless small requests. None of them had seemed heavy alone. But together they had slowly bent his back, and he had never once said no, not once. The old horse began to walk away toward the dark forest. After a few steps, he stopped and spoke one final time. Kindness without respect for yourself becomes a burden others are happy to place on you. Then he disappeared between the trees. The next morning, the squirrel arrived first. He dropped a large bag of nuts beside Rowan. Rowan looked at the bag. Then he looked at the squirrel. And for the first time in his life, Rowan shook his head gently. "I cannot carry that today." The squirrel blinked, surprised. Rowan did not feel angry. He did not feel guilty. He simply stood there. Something inside him felt lighter than it had in years. That afternoon, Rowan walked to the open field beyond the farm. For the first time in many seasons, nothing rested on his back. No bundles, no baskets, no ropes pulling him forward. Something interesting began to happen after that. Some animals stopped coming with their endless requests. They searched for help somewhere else, but others began to treat Rowan differently. They asked instead of assuming. They thanked him when he helped. And when Rowan carried something, it no longer felt like a burden, because it was his choice. Rowan was still the same kind animal, but something inside him now stood upright. Now the kindness had something strong beneath it. Respect. Many beings in life are like Rowan. They carry everything they are given, not because they must, but because they believe saying yes makes them valuable. Yet respect rarely grows where limits do not exist. The world often treats us the way we quietly allow it to. When you begin to respect your own strength, your time, and your limits, something unexpected happens. Others begin to see that strength too. If you want to try something simple tonight, imagine the weight you carried today, not the bags or the work, the invisible things, the favors you felt you could not refuse, the responsibilities that were never truly yours, the expectations you accepted without question. Now ask yourself one quiet question. If Rowan were standing beside you, which of those things would he gently place back on the ground? Sometimes respect for yourself begins with a very small act, choosing what you will carry tomorrow and what you will finally leave behind. If this story felt familiar, perhaps there is a small Rowan somewhere inside you. If you enjoyed this story, leave a like so more people can find it. Share it with someone who carries too much. And subscribe to this channel, because every story here is a reminder. Sometimes the strongest thing you can carry is your own self-respect.